witnesses for your statements. I will recognize myself for questioning. Ambassador Sherman, when asked by the informant if the assassination of the Saudi ambassador needed to go forward, even if doing so would cause mass or could cause mass American casualties, the accused perpetrator responded, quote, "If hundreds go with them, expletive them," end quote. Is engagement with the Iranian regime, bilaterally or through the P5+1, still a part of the administration's policy? And does the administration still adhere to this package of incentives for Iran based on that regime's suspension of uranium enrichment? And if so, will the administration seek waivers on legislative restrictions that have been proposed and will be proposed in order for the U.S. to continue to participate in this incentive package? Is the U.S. position merely to ask Iran to suspend its nuclear enrichment program, or to verifiably dismantle its nuclear program and stop other aggressive actions? And tied to this assassination plot, and I know we won't have time to answer them all, the administration sanctioned 4 individuals, one who has for years had American blood on his hands. This Quds Force officer reportedly planned the January 2007 attack on U.S. soldiers stationed in Iraq. That attack left 5 U.S. soldiers dead and wounded 3 others. And this same Quds Force officer coordinated the murder-for-hire plot recently in the U.S. that was just foiled this week. And this Karbala raid was daring, it was sophisticated. Iranian-trained terrorists posed as American soldiers. 2 years later, however, the Obama administration approved the release of 2 brothers who were members of the Karbala hit team and leaders of one of the infamous Iranian-directed special groups. And the public rationale offered for their release was that it was part of an Iraqi reconciliation effort. So why did the administration not designate Shalai, the gentleman who's, no gentleman, the one who was complicit in this murder-for-hire plot at that time, given that he was the key enabler of this deadly attack on Americans, and was not designating Shalai at that time part of the administration's engagement with the Iranian regime?
Thank you very much for your questions, Madam Chair. The administration is very clear. Our policy toward Iran is to get them to verifiably end their nuclear weapons program and their nuclear weapons ambition. There is no question about that, and we are quite unambiguous about that objective. There has been a 2-pronged approach to that objective, and they interact with each other. We want to create the maximum pressure on Iran. To do so, we not only need to impose, which we have, the strongest sanctions regime in 3 decades bilaterally against Iran, but we need to mobilize the international community, because sanctions are most effective when they are severe, when they are enforced, and when they are taken forward by multiple countries. We are very powerful, and we are very strong, and we are very consequential to Iran. But when we have a United Nations Security Council resolution signed on to by the entire Security Council, and they bilaterally move forward on enforcing those sanctions, we increase the severity and the impact of sanctions. It's always good for us to do it. It's even better when we have others do it with us.
And if I could interrupt, it's always good when we do it, when we have all of these options on the table, but we don't do even our own.
We are absolutely committed to following through on the enforcement of all of our sanctions, and I'll get to that in a moment. So we have one track, which is sanctions and increasing the pressure on Iran, and doing that in every single possible way that we can, and we are greatly appreciative of CISADA as an incredibly useful tool in doing that. The second prong is, rather than engagement, I would say, seeing in fact whether there is an on-ramp to having a discussion with Iran to actually end their nuclear weapons program.
So you believe that, if I can interrupt, you believe that engagement with with a country whose leaders have reportedly sanctioned this assassination plot, because money transfers would have been very difficult in a country like that were it not approved by higher-ups, that engagement with this country is possible?
So far, the answer has been no.
But you will continue.
Iran has not been serious. Iran has not been sincere. And in fact, right after I was confirmed, I went up to the United Nations General Assembly, had a meeting with the P5+1. And I want to read to you, and this was
Thank you, and I'm sorry, my time is up, but I will go to Mr. Berman's time. I apologize. I asked a lot of questions, but I just don't know what it would take for us to wise up and realize that they are not willing to negotiate, and they don't wish to negotiate.
May I add one sentence, Madam Chair? And the
Yes,
one
ma'am.
sentence I would add is, out of that P5+1 meeting, all of us agreed that there should be no conversation with Iran unless there is any seriousness and there is a way to verify that seriousness. So we agree with
We just had a conversation yesterday at the UN with, anyway, thank you so much. Mr. Berman.